She was dubbed a superstorm and certainly lived up to that name.
It could be days before a lot of folks around the Northeast can see their lives get back to normal. Sandy Center never closer to us than about 400 miles, but boy, it sure felt closer. And while its effects continue to be felt in Maine, to our south, the damage is much, much worse.
Along the Jersey Shore, for instance, homes and businesses are destroyed. Some streets look more like sand dunes than roadways today. Further inland, huge trees came crashing down on cars and homes. In Manhattan, the subway system, you can see it there, sustained major damage when seawater came rushing into the tunnels. And while most areas saw heavy rain, people living in some parts of West Virginia are dealing with the aftermath of blizzard conditions, with several feet of snow falling in some areas.
The storm is leaving millions without power tonight. In Maine and New Hampshire, we suffered trees down, widespread power outages. Now, at the peak of the storm, about 88,000 homes and businesses were without power. Tonight, progress. That number is down to just under 47,000 without power. Most of those are in Cumberland and York counties. Let's go ahead and go live now to Brad Rogers. He's in a hard-hit Westbrook neighborhood. So what's the word, Brad? Is the power back on there tonight?
Yeah, here in Westbrook, actually power has been restored to several families. It's still off, though, for about 400 homes and businesses here in Westbrook. Utility crews, though, as you say, they're out there working hard trying to restore that power to everyone here in southern and central Maine as well. This, as daylight really brought the first really good look at the aftermath of Hurricane Sandy. Take a look. Inland, it was all down power lines, massive power outages, and entire trees snapping like twigs in last night's high winds. Hundreds of families here on Methodist Road lost power over 24 hours ago after large branches fell across these power lines. Incredible, though, just how many people drove through these down lines. Never a good idea because you just can't be sure if those lines aren't hot. Now, on the opposite end of this road, an even bigger problem, an entire tree that took out a utility pole, a power line, and the lines leading to the LeBlanc's home. Gerard LeBlanc and his wife heard a loud bang outside their home last night, then saw what had happened.
It was bad. I thought I was going to lose some pine trees out back. I never knew this one here was as bad as it is. A couple of years ago, we were thinking about taking that tree down. And I don't think we have to decide now. It's coming down.
Right, utility crews first had to cut this tree into pieces and remove it. Yeah, I tell you what, coming down is right. The utility crews, had to cut this tree in pieces, remove it. Then a second crew put up a brand new pole and transformer. Finally, a third utility crew coming in and reattaching the power lines to get the power back up for the hundreds of families who live on this road. And it's really been like this all day long throughout southern Maine, a real team effort among all the utility crews working out there. Reporting live in Westbrook, Brad Rogers, News 13. And Kim and Greg, I'm sure it's going to be another long night and another long day tomorrow to restore power to all the other people without power tonight.
Undoubtedly.
Yeah.
All right, thank you, Brad. Well, some homeowners not lost power alone because of Sandy. The superstorm also damaged their homes and property.
Yeah, we went inside this home in Falmouth today to get this video of a tree that went right through a roof and right into a closet. Thank goodness it didn't hit anybody. Remember, many of the deaths linked to Sandy, about 39 so far, do involve falling trees. The homeowner here describes her close call.
There was a huge crash, and I flew out of bed. The closet door had come open on its own, and then I turned around and I saw this huge tree in my closet. I was like, oh my gosh. It's like, this isn't good.
No, not good at all. Well, now instead of being filled with clothing and shoes, her closet is filled with plaster, water, insulation, and tree debris.
She was expecting a tree service company this afternoon, and will then start the process of having her home repaired.
Well, after a howling wind last night, a much calmer morning for many of us, even some sunshine at times today.
That was nice to see, but we did have some severe weather pop up in places like the Mid-Coast today, and we're actually hardly done with Sandy. News 13 Chief Meteorologist Charlie Lopresti joins us live now with what we can expect.
Well, that's right, Kim. We had severe thunderstorms drifting across the Mid-Coast today. Those have lifted off to the north, and particularly across central Maine, a flood warning was issued there and still remains in effect. In fact, let's jump into the maps. Sandy is still a massive superstorm. There she She is spinning over western parts of Pennsylvania on the north and east side. It's very mild. On the south and west side, it's rather cool. And there they're getting a snowstorm. Here in northern New England, we just have temps in the 60s. Let's get in a little bit closer. I'll show you where the rain is. There's another band of rain starting to move in from southern sections, southern New Hampshire and down in Massachusetts. That will overspread our skies during the overnight, so periods of rain will exist. Another band of rain exists over northern and eastern areas. Those bands are moving out. Flood warning remains in effect for parts of Waldo County, Kennebec County, and also portions of Somerset County. We've had heavy rainfall there. That flood warning has been issued for the streams, small streams and rivers. A flood watch remains in effect for northern zones for heavy rainfall that will extend through late tonight. In addition to all of that, we have a few river flood warnings in effect: Saco River at Conway and the Swift River at Roxbury. So many different aspects of the storm. I'm happy to report we will slowly see some improvement. I expect some more showers to develop tomorrow morning, just a lot of clouds in the afternoon. Thursday and Friday look mainly cloudy as well. Now, Greg and Kim, last year on this date, I woke up to no power for a different reason. Remember that one?
Of course.
The big snowstorm. So I'm starting to think there's something about October 29th and October 30th. Big hurricane this year, big snowstorm last year. I'll have to see what happens next year.
And you don't have power this time either, right?
No, I don't have power in my house.
Yeah, I don't
this year.
either, frankly.
Hopefully
so.
soon.
Kim's the
Oh, I
lucky
feel
one.
lucky,
This,
yes.
One
All
out
right.
of three.
Thank
Soon
you,
enough.
Charlie. Well, Portland Harbor is back open tonight. The Coast Guard closed it down during the storm as 25-foot seas and wind gusts of 76 miles per hour were recorded not too far offshore.
Yeah, Coast Guard crew set out at sunrise. They got back at base around 9 o'clock this morning in South Portland. They were out checking for boat damage out there, debris, and making sure the waterfront's infrastructure was intact.
They also measured buoy positioning to make sure that no buoys had been blown too far out of position. At 10 a.m., they gave the all clear, reopening Maine's largest port.
Oh, with the storm hitting during a full moon tide, we also wanted to know just how bad the beach erosion might have been all along southern Maine. So we sent out our Steve Roldan to take a look.
He joins us now live from Camp Ellis. And Steve, just how bad was the damage there?
Well, Kim, not too bad. In fact, we talked to a lot of people just dealing with some minor nuisances out there. Considering the treacherous weather we saw last night, big change tonight with some calmer weather, and again, not a whole lot of damage, but Sandy definitely making her note right along the Maine coastline. I want to show you what it looked like a little earlier today as the waves were continuing to batter the coastline, still crashing on shore. There were no reports of significant damage or flooding to homes in this area. We did talk to one homeowner in Camp Ellis who rode out the storm in his home right against the water, and he had his backyard patio that was washed away. He spent the day cleaning up the mess left behind from the damaging waves. Now, a little further down the coast on Drake's Island and also in the town of Wells, the high surf did cause significant beach erosion.
There is a beach, yes. I sunbathe on it. I go sea kayaking with my husband out here, and I ride my horse on the beach off season, and there's no beach today.
It got bad. You know, around midnight, 1 o'clock there, I was up and the house was shaking, and it was just really, really a forceful wind. You know, and you could tell it was just different from even the pictures they stormed. I don't think it was as bad for me anyways.
A lot of people definitely comparing it to that storm. I want to show you right now, this is what they're dealing with. This is some of the pebbles and rocks that have washed on shore, on the coastline, also on area roads and through some of the neighborhoods. And a lot of people say, considering the size of that storm, this is just a minor disturbance, nothing too complicated to deal with. They say they understand it could have been much worse had Sandy taking that track a little further closer to us. So again, not a whole lot of damage, a lot of grateful people in and around this area. That's the latest live here at Camp Ellis. Steve Roldan, News 13. Back to you guys.
Glad to hear it, because it was nasty last night out there, Steve. All right, while the cleanup continues, those trying to travel in and out of Maine via plane and train are still dealing with major delays and cancellations.
Yeah, a lot of disruptions happening. Taking a live look at the JETPORT flight board. Look closer, you can see dozens of flights are canceled tonight. Our Jana Barnella was live at the JETPORT, where activity finally, Jana, appears to be picking up tonight.
Kim, Greg, transportation in Portland is moving again, but like you just said, plenty of cancellations and delays still throughout the region. Here at the JETPORT, likely your flight is canceled than on time just by looking at the arrivals and departures board. We did catch a few planes in the air, though, which is proof that some people have been able to travel into and out of Portland over the past few days, but really it's still a mess, especially on the East Coast. Turning to trains, the Amtrak Down Easter canceled all trips today. We found it parked in Portland, but good news for bus passengers. The bus schedule is mostly back to normal, and as things get back to normal, there are still plenty of Mainers and out-of-towners who've had to change their plans.
We just went to one of the local beer cafes, got some nice beers last night. And
had some
great
pizza.
Pizza, Belgian waffles. So it hasn't really been too bad of an experience overall. I'd say it's been a nice extra day in Portland.
Just wait. That's all I can do. Be patient. It's nobody's fault. You can't shoot the messenger.
Supposedly going into Chicago O'Hare, and then there is an American airline connection that they're trying to get us on. They're still working on it after 5 hours on hold with United. And then if we can't get on that, the next available flight is 12 hours later at 6 o'clock the next morning, leaving from O'Hare to Houston, getting into Houston about 10 o'clock in the morning.
And with so much uncertainty surrounding travel plans, especially flying, the best thing you can do if you or a loved one is traveling over the next few days, contact your airline directly. That'll be the best way to figure out if your flight is canceled, if it's going to be canceled, and if you can make alternative arrangements. Live at the Jetport, I'm Jana Barnello, News 13. Kim Gregg, back to you.
Slowly back to normal. Okay.
It's going to take a few days. All right, thanks, Jana.
Now, your Weather Authority forecast with Charlie DePresti.
All right, welcome back, everyone. Sandy is moving out, but unsettled weather continues. So more showers in the forecast. In fact, periods of rain will continue tonight through tomorrow morning. Before we jump into the forecast, let's take a look back at some of the incredible statistics from this storm, at least in our area. The wind was the big story around here, especially over southern and coastal areas. If you're watching us from areas like central Maine, Kennebec County, Androscoggin County, not so much for you. Isles of Shoals coming in with a hurricane force wind gust. Same in Bath. Portland coming in with 63 miles per hour for a peak gusts. These are all peak gusts. Saco close to 60, Portsmouth close to 60. A lot of 50s from Matinicus Rock down to Gray. National Weather Service reporting that one. Lewiston and Augusta, again, not quite as much of a big storm for you, but a respectable 36 and 47 miles per hour. I always like to put Mount Washington on the map. 140 miles per hour recorded yesterday up on the rock pile. All right, what an incredible looking storm system. This now post-tropical cyclone Sandy, better known as the big superstorm at this point. See the big center of low pressure. You get that counterclockwise rotation around low pressure that will continue to affect us over the next several days. Notice what's happening. That was the band of rain with the thunderstorms that moved across the mid-coast and northern Maine. This next little spoke in the pinwheel, this moves through during the overnight tonight. So we get into more steady rainfall. We're seeing widespread effects on the northern side of the storm. Here we are, the scene in Westbrook today, where wind, of course, was the big issue. Folks trying to clean up there as we head off to the south. New York, an incredible storm. This was the worst storm in recorded history as far as flooding goes. Incredible flooding occurring, especially for parts of Manhattan. You head down to the New Jersey shore. This is the scene down in Atlantic City, New Jersey, where the storm actually made landfall just a few miles south of Atlantic City. Now, that in comparison to what's happening in West Virginia, in Snowshoe, West Virginia, they're getting a snowstorm out of this one. 1 to 3 feet of snow occurring down there. All right, what's happening back at home? Yes, we still have some rain to talk about. Steadiest rainfall right now is occurring over northern sections. This actually moving over eastern and northern parts of the state, but there's another round of rainfall moving into southern areas. This will overspread our skies overnight, so there will be more rainfall as we go into the overnight hours. Let's get a little bit closer now in Storm Tracker. I'll show you how this plays out. That first band moves out, next band moves in, periods of rain by 10 or 11 o'clock, so more rainfall tonight. Temps stay mild at least, temps running in the 50s. Now tomorrow, I think temps will be mostly in the lower 60s. It's going to be a mild day. That's the good news in the forecast. The bad news, I have some rain, especially during the morning. I'm more hopeful during the afternoon. We just have mainly cloudy skies. That will be good news for trick-or-treaters because if we can get some dry hours, I think that will help everyone out, of course. Look for cloudy skies or mainly cloudy skies on Thursday with temps a little bit cooler, running in the 50s. Now, if you are heading trick-or-treating tomorrow, I expect temps in the 50s. The good news is going to be mild. I still can't rule out a brief shower. I'd urge folks to check with their local town authorities, maybe their town hall, though I'm hearing that some towns may actually try to postpone Halloween this year, especially in towns that still don't have electricity. So keep an eye out for that. Tomorrow, again, some rain during the morning, during the afternoon, just a lot of clouds around, chance for showers late. Thursday, Friday, and Saturday look mainly cloudy. There's the chance for a shower each day. Temps look a little bit cooler late weekend into early next week. At least during that period, we actually have a little sun to return. With brighter skies, temps struggling, though, to get out of the 40s. So we're heading into November in the long range, and it's going to feel like that by Monday and Tuesday.
And we said it last night. Thank goodness it's mild for those who are without power right now.
Such a help.
Well said. 60s today, 60s again tomorrow.
And we should elaborate on what you mentioned, Charlie, about some police departments, like in Scarborough, for example, urging people to consider postponing the trick-or-treating. Obviously, that's not enforceable, but they're saying with all the lights out, with cars trying to drive around, with the houses dark, that it's probably a good idea to consider putting it off. But as Charlie said, maybe check with your town, check with your neighborhood.
Sounds good, Charlie.